Is losing really that bad? Society has long painted a negative picture of failure, portraying it as something shameful, a sign of weakness that must be avoided at all costs. From a young age, we are taught that success is the most important measure of a person, often defined by wealth, fame, power, and significant achievements in life. Meanwhile, failure is frequently associated with incompetence, inadequacy, and even a lack of worth. This mindset creates immense pressure, instilling a deep fear of failure that drives people to avoid it at all costs. But what if this perspective is flawed? What if we have been misled into believing in a false dichotomy between success and failure? What if losing is not only acceptable, but in some cases, even the better choice? Failure can open doors to new opportunities, allowing us to learn, grow, and gain a deeper understanding of ourselves. It can serve as a catalyst for change, guiding us toward paths that align more closely with who we truly are, rather than the expectations imposed by society. More importantly, if we spend our lives paralyzed by the fear of failure, could that, in fact, be the greatest obstacle preventing us from achieving true happiness and fulfillment? The subjectivity of success and failure. Success and failure are not absolute concepts, but rather subjective values that vary depending on perspective, circumstances, and personal experiences. To truly understand failure, we must first ask, what does success really mean? Many people define success by common standards such as a six-figure income, a prestigious title, a luxurious mansion, or millions of social media followers. But are these truly the universal benchmarks for everyone? Success does not have a single definition. It shifts based on culture, personal values, and individual life situations. Consider the case of a Buddhist monk. He owns nothing but his robe and an alms bowl. By material standards, he might be seen as a failure since he lacks wealth, fame, or a celebrated career. Yet, from another perspective, he has attained inner peace and achievement that many wealthy individuals never experience. An artist who dedicates a lifetime to creating without concern for profit, or a parent who forgoes career advancement to spend more time with their family, both may not fit conventional definitions of success. But does that mean they are failures? If success is subjective, then failure is as well. Losing a job, failing an exam, or experiencing heartbreak may seem like major setbacks. However, upon deeper reflection, these moments can serve as opportunities for learning, transformation, and personal growth. A closed door may lead to an even better path. The failures that once caused us pain may, in hindsight, become the foundation for greater achievements in the future. Failure only becomes true failure when we allow rigid societal definitions to dictate how we perceive ourselves. If we measure success solely by external validation, failure will be an endless source of distress. On the other hand, if we identify the values that genuinely matter to us, both success and failure become meaningful experiences that bring us closer to happiness and self-fulfillment. Success is not a fixed destination, but a unique journey, one that each individual must define and conquer in their own way. The high cost of winning, when success becomes a burden. In our relentless pursuit of victory, we often fail to ask the most important question: what is the true cost of winning? Society glorifies success, painting it as the ultimate goal, the pinnacle of human achievement. We are taught from a young age that winning, whether in our careers, social standing, or personal endeavors, is the key to happiness and fulfillment. But beneath the polished surface of success lies a hidden truth. Traditional success, as defined by wealth, status, and recognition, frequently demands sacrifices so immense that they leave individuals emotionally, mentally, and even physically depleted. For many, the path to victory is paved with exhaustion, compromise, and regret. High-powered executives, for example, dedicate decades of their lives to climbing the corporate ladder, pushing themselves to work grueling 80-hour weeks. In doing so, they sacrifice their time with family, neglect their health, and suppress their own desires in favor of business goals. They accumulate wealth and prestige, but at what cost? Too often, they reach the summit of their careers only to find themselves isolated, their marriages strained, their children distant, and their bodies worn down by years of stress and neglect. When they finally pause to reflect, many realize they have won the game society told them to play, yet lost the things that truly mattered. Beyond the corporate world, the same pattern emerges in the digital age, where social media influencers and public figures chase validation in the form of likes, comments, and followers. They carefully craft an online persona, presenting an enviable image of success, wealth, and happiness. But behind the scenes, many battle anxiety, burnout, and loneliness. The constant pressure to maintain relevance, to stay ahead of the algorithm, to meet the ever-growing expectations of an audience that demands more perfection, more excitement, more engagement takes a devastating toll. They gain millions of admirers, yet many lose their sense of self in the process. The applause eventually fades, the algorithms shift, and they are left with the unsettling realization that the version of themselves they have built for public consumption may not even be real. The problem lies not in ambition itself, nor in the pursuit of success. There is nothing inherently wrong with striving for greatness, setting goals, or seeking to better one's circumstances. The danger, however, arises when success is pursued blindly, when winning is prioritized above all else, regardless of the sacrifices required. In a world that constantly equates achievement with self-worth, people are often trapped in an endless race, measuring their value by external accomplishments rather than internal fulfillment. The result? A society filled with individuals who appear victorious on the outside, but feel deeply unfulfilled within. Ironically, the very pursuit of success can lead to a profound sense of failure. When the cost of winning includes lost relationships, compromised morals, or an erosion of one's own identity, the victory becomes hollow, an illusion of success rather than the real thing. True achievement should not come at the expense of authenticity, happiness, and dignity. If reaching the top requires sacrificing the very essence of who we are, then perhaps the victory is not worth it at all. Ultimately, the real question is not whether we are winning or losing, but whether the game we are playing is even worth playing. Success should not be measured solely by how much we achieve, but by how much we retain of ourselves in the process. A life well lived is not defined by trophies, accolades, or financial milestones, but by the depth of our relationships, the richness of our experiences, and the peace that comes from knowing we have stayed true to who we are. Before we chase after another goal, climb another rung on the ladder, or seek another round of applause, we must pause and ask ourselves, is this the kind of victory I truly want? Because not all wins are worth winning, and not all losses are truly losses, losing as a path to growth. Why failure is often the best teacher. Society has conditioned us to fear failure, to see losing as something shameful, something that reflects inadequacy, weakness, and incompetence. We are taught from an early age that success is the ultimate goal, that we must strive to win at all costs, and that losing is something to be avoided, even feared. But what if losing is not only acceptable, but actually necessary for true growth? What if the moments when we feel like we have failed are actually the turning points that shape us into who we are meant to be? Throughout history, some of the greatest minds, innovators, and creators have encountered failure, sometimes repeatedly, before achieving success. They were not defined by their losses, but by how they responded to them. Albert Einstein, one of the most brilliant scientific minds of all time, was once considered a poor student. His teachers doubted his abilities and told him he would never amount to anything. Yet he went on to reshape our understanding of physics with his theory of relativity. J.K. Rowling was rejected by multiple publishers before finally getting Harry Potter published. Today, her books have sold over 500 million copies worldwide and have inspired generations. Steve Jobs was famously fired from Apple, the very company he helped create. Many would have seen this as the end of his career, but instead, he used the setback as an opportunity to learn, grow, and ultimately return to Apple stronger than ever, leading it to become one of the most successful tech companies in the world. These examples highlight a fundamental truth. Failure is not the end of the road. It is often the beginning of something far greater. Losing forces us to reassess our path, to question our priorities, and to discover strengths we may not have known we possessed. It teaches resilience, creativity, and adaptability in ways that easy success never could. The hidden cost of winning at all costs. While we idolize winners and glorify success, we rarely stop to ask, what is the cost of winning? What are people sacrificing in their relentless pursuit of victory? For many, traditional success, wealth, status, recognition comes at a steep price. Consider the high-powered executives who dedicate their entire lives to their careers. Working 80-hour weeks, sacrificing their health, their relationships, and their peace of mind in the pursuit of professional prestige. Decades later, they may find themselves at the pinnacle of success, yet deeply unfulfilled, realizing they have lost the very things that truly matter. Or think about social media influencers who spend every waking moment curating a flawless online persona. To their followers, they seem to have it all: glamour, popularity, and admiration. But behind the filters and carefully staged content, many of them struggle with anxiety, burnout, and imposter syndrome. They have won the validation of the world, but lost their sense of self. The truth is, winning is not always as glamorous as it seems. The pursuit of success, when driven by external pressures rather than internal fulfillment, often leads to exhaustion, disillusionment, and even regret. A life spent chasing recognition and approval is rarely a life well lived. The freedom that comes with letting go. One of the most profound realizations that comes with embracing failure is the freedom it brings. The moment we stop defining ourselves by external achievements, we become truly unstoppable. Imagine waking up one day and realizing that you no longer fear failure, that you are no longer controlled by what others think of you, that you have the courage to pursue what truly makes you happy, regardless of whether it brings fame, fortune, or approval. Imagine living a life where mistakes are seen not as embarrassments, but as stepping stones to something greater. This kind of freedom is rare, but it is also one of the most valuable things we can attain. It allows us to live authentically, to take risks, to explore paths we might otherwise avoid out of fear. It enables us to redefine success on our own terms, rather than constantly measuring ourselves against the expectations of others. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. The same is true of success. The less we depend on external validation, the less power failure has over us. Redefining what it means to win and lose. At its core, being a loser does not mean being unsuccessful. It means challenging society's rigid definitions of success. The real failures in life are not those who fall short of conventional success, but those who never dare to define success for themselves. Consider the person who chooses a modest, peaceful life over a high-stakes corporate career. The artist who creates for the love of their craft, rather than for fame or fortune. The parent who prioritizes raising a family over professional ambition. Are these people losers simply because they have chosen a path that does not align with society's definition of winning? Or have they actually found a deeper, more meaningful form of success? Perhaps losing in the eyes of the world is, in fact, winning in ways that matter far more. Inner peace, authentic relationships, creative freedom, a life lived without regrets. So the next time you feel like you are losing, ask yourself, are you truly failing? Or are you simply walking a path that few have the courage to take? Because in the end, winning is not about being better than others, it is about being true to yourself. In a world that relentlessly pushes us to chase success, we often forget to ask ourselves, what does winning truly mean? Is it the accumulation of wealth, recognition, and power? Or is it something deeper, something that cannot be measured by titles, bank accounts, or social media followers? True success is not about never failing, nor is it about constantly proving our worth to others. It is about living with purpose, staying true to our values, and finding fulfillment in the things that genuinely matter. Sometimes, losing by society's standards is the greatest victory of all, because it means we have had the courage to define success on our own terms. So, if the price of winning is losing yourself, is it really worth it? If failure leads to wisdom, growth, and authenticity, is it truly a loss? Perhaps the real measure of success is not how often we win, but how deeply we live, dare to fail, dare to redefine success, dare to be free.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.